Hi everyone, in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the challenges of conventional RDBMS systems in data analytics. So, the RDBMS, the Relational Database Management System, this was used as one-step solution for all the database needs. Whenever we had some records, we had some data, we used to store those data into some database tables. First, we create some database connection using proper credential, for example, the IP address, then the username or password, which may not be essential or in all the RDBMS. However, first we would like to create some schema, we would like to create some database, then in under one database we may like to create some tables, database tables. So, these are the database objects that we use to store the data. So, once we can use we can create the tables, we can insert some values inside in that table. Whenever it is required, we can update the table, we can update some field, we can rename some field, we can rename the table name even, right. We can insert the data, we can delete some records, or we can drop the tables. These are the operations that we can do or we were doing in RDBMS, which is considered as the traditional or conventional database management system. Example of these RDBMS are from the organizations like Oracle, then IBM, then Microsoft. These are the proprietary organizations who had their own RDBMS. This RDBMS uses one query language, that is called the structured query language, because the RDBMS, they do not understand any English or Assamese language or Hindi language or any other Arabic language. However, they understand only one language, that is called structured query language. The structured query language or SQL, that SQL query is used to define, query and update the database. Now, if we know what is the RDBMS, now next thing is that we would like to know what the challenges they faced, and because of that we had to think about for some alternative solutions like Hadoop and MapReduce framework or cloud computing. When we talk about the data in today's world, can we think about the data that is generated in every second or every hour? The volume and velocity of the data has changed dramatically in the last couple of years. The data size has been increased tremendously in exponential way in the range of petabytes. Do we know how much that 1 petabyte is? That 1 petabyte is equal to 1024 terabytes. Think about the size of the data. Now, we are not going to discuss about kilobyte or megabyte. Now, we talk about only petabyte or zettabyte of data. RDBMS, it found it very much challenging to handle such huge amount of data. The data volume is getting increased and increased day by day, but RDBMS has been failed to manage this amount of data, because RDBMS, it is a software and it has a specific storage, specific space, but the rapid rate of increasing the velocity of that data, the velocity in which the data is increasing day by day is so much, it is tremendously increasing in such a way that RDBMS could not handle that huge amount of data. Now, if we talk about the solution of this problem, there are two solutions. One is that to address this RDBMS, we would add some additional cores in the system, or we would like to increase the memory capacity. We may increase the RAM size. In the 4 years back or 3 years back, in my system I used to have dual core processor or 4 GB RAM, but now after 5 years or 4 years, my system has been upgraded with multi-core or quad-core processor with 16 GB of RAM. Similarly, in the organizations, in the bigger organization, the bigger companies, people are using the system, the laptops are of 16 GB RAM, minimum 16 GB RAM. Nowadays we are using multi-core processors, because we are in a state, we are now in a state that we are having so much of data, and we have to store the data, because we do not know in future why or when and what purpose we may need those data. We have to archive those data, we have to store the data, because data has some value. Data is very much precious nowadays. The another solution that RDBMS, the another solution we had to find out is that why we had to find out another solution, what the other challenges that RDBMS were facing, the other issues that RDBMS were facing that time. Nowadays the data comes from variety of sources, data comes from heterogeneous data sources, and when the data comes, the data does not come only in the structured format, it comes in semi-structured or unstructured format as well. If I talk about the semi-structured data format, we can think about the XML records. The XML format is called the semi-structured format. If I talk about the unstructured format, think about the likes, how many likes people are posting in the Facebook, how many audios, videos, the stories, the posts, the tweets people are posting every day. So this way the data comes in unstructured format as well. However, the RDBMS could not categorize the unstructured data, because RDBMS was made for excuse me only to handle the structured data. It could accommodate only the structured data, because the table it can create or the table it can modify or edit, it is mainly used for structured data only. Hence, the structured data means we can store that data in a database table, where the table will have more than one fields or more than one attribute. The attribute or the field will have a specific data type, that is called the structured data. However, if I talk about the Facebook tweet, I may not be able to say that what is the data type of this Facebook tweet, because in that tweet someone can insert some emoji, someone can insert some audio file. This way I cannot say which data type it belongs to. So these are the unstructured data. RDBMS could not handle that unstructured or semi-structured data. It could not, it was not able to store or organize or manage this unstructured data as well. So these are the challenges that RDBMS faced. The number one is that the big data volume, the amount of data that is increased in a rapid rate, that amount of bigger volume of data cannot be stored in RDBMS, and also that RDBMS cannot store the unstructured data or the semi-structured data. It can store only, or it can retain only the structured data. RDBMS lacks the high velocity, because it is designed for steady data retention rather than rapid growth. Nowadays the data comes in various velocity. The speed of data is more than before. Now we are not only worrying about some static data, but also we are worrying about the dynamic data, the live data. We may store the static data, but at the same time we may have to work or we may have to process the live data, the streaming data as well. However, RDBMS was not able to handle and store this big amount of data. Okay, if it would have handled that amount of big data, the cost would be very much high. It would be that RDBMS would be very expensive. As a result, the inability of relational databases to handle the big data led to the emergence of new technologies, that is the Hadoop and MapReduce framework. To summary of today's lecture is that the RDBMS, that relational database management system, was the conventional or traditional database management system which was the number one system to store and manage the data. However, the data that it used to manage was stationary data, it was static data. Oracle, MySQL, DB2, these are the RDBMS, these are the company who have their proprietary software of RDBMS. SQL, structured query language, is the language which can talk with the database table, which can create a table, which can create a database, update the table or update a particular field, delete some record, insert some records and drop the tables. These are the different database operations or different operations that can be used, that can be performed by normal RDBMS, which was the conventional system. Also, we talked about the different challenges that RDBMS faced. The major challenges it was facing was that volume of data, big volume of data, and the velocity of data, the rapid change of data, the rapid increase of data. Now, it is not enough to store only the stationary data or static data. Also, we have to think about the data which is streaming, which is live data, which is streaming data. Before, the RDBMS used to store and process only the structured data. However, nowadays the RDBMS also have to handle the unstructured data, and it cannot be done by RDBMS. Steady data retention is the way that RDBMS used to do. RDBMS was not made for streaming data, it was made for only the static data. If RDBMS had faced these challenges, what are the solutions we have found till now? There are two solutions. Number one is that scale up vertically. It means we are upgrading the hardwares. We are adding more cores in our system, we are adding more memories in our system. And in the second solution, that big data processing using Hadoop framework. This is the solution number 2. So, this way we have discussed about the RDBMS, which is the traditional or conventional data management platform, the challenges it faced, and the solution that we have already in our hand. One is that upgrading the hardwares, and the software side. In the software side, we have come up with the solution of Hadoop and MapReduce framework, which is used for big data processing. In the next class, we will discuss about the big data. Thank you very much.